We're back. Omar Isov here today to answer your fitness questions, health and fitness, that you asked me on my Facebook fan page. I took a look at all of them. Some were dumb, some were great. I'm taking the great ones. And without further ado, I have about 30 seconds to a minute maximum to answer each question. That's why, guys, I know some of you ask really complicated questions, but I don't have the time. I'll take those questions and develop them into videos. Anyways, let's get started. Yo, Omar, what's up? How do I work out with a knee injury? Great question. So if you have a knee problem, I don't know what it is. Immediately, as I said before in the previous video, you could pretty much categorize all exercises for the lower body between knee dominant and hip dominant. So what you do, you take the knee dominant exercises, like a high bar squat, and instead you do more hip dominant versions. So knee friendly, let's say, high bar squat, instead you do a low bar squat. You could do, instead of, let's say, if you do a conventional deadlift, which is still pretty knee friendly, very knee friendly actually, you could do something more along the lines of a stiff leg deadlift. Essentially what you would do is replace knee dominant movements with their hip dominant substitute. So anything that involves the hip bending more will be friendlier for your knee, safer. So, man, I finally got lean. Congratulations. Now I want more muscle. This is a good goal. I'm afraid to end up where I started if I bulk again. I understand your concern. What is your advice, Omar? Okay, so it's called the transition phase. I have a video on this. Link is going to be in the description. Some people call it the reverse diet, but essentially, as I said before, when you stop cutting, you got to slowly ramp up your calories, and that way it'll prevent your body from quickly using those extra 1,000 calories to go towards being stored as fat. So slowly ramping up the calories will allow your body to adjust with time to that new surplus, the transition phase. Link, description, now. What's your opinion on Ice Cream Fitness's 5x5 novice program? I like it. I actually recommended it to someone the other day. I said, yo, you gotta check out Jason Blahaw's novice program because clearly you don't know what you're doing. I sent the link, and what he said in response, he got his last name wrong. He's like, oh man, thanks for sending Jason Blahaw's novice program. Needless to say, Jason, you got a new fan now. I'm a fan. I like it. I like the novice program. Olympic ATG squats. Should I break at the hips or knees first? Candido versus Team 3DMJ. I'm not actually sure what Team 3DMJ said, but in this debate, I know Candido, and I know what I would say too, is that for Olympic ATG squat, it definitely starts with the knees breaking first. The concept is to keep the torso very vertical, and what you want to do is make sure that your hips are nice and open, the knees are traveling, and you're coming straight down as low as possible. If you observe any Olympic lifter do a deep squat, you'll notice the same thing. I can say personally, I have someone that trained at my gym, and observing him, you know, squat 525 pounds, Olympic style. Always the knees would break first and the torso would remain very vertical. So if you're truly doing Olympic style ATG high bar back squats, your knees would break first. How can I increase my explosiveness off the floor for sumo deadlifts? Great question. I should make a video on this, but explosiveness off the floor for any deadlift really will come down to a deficit deadlift. Why? Because you're starting lower than normal. So you get a box, you stand on top of it just slightly, so let's say about 3 inches, and you stand on top of it and do your normal deadlift. Because you're pulling from a higher position, you have a greater range of motion. So you'll be able to blast through that sticking point, which is the bottom, getting it off the ground, which is the problem for the sumo deadlift. In general, for the sumo deadlift, if you get it off the floor, you'll pretty much get the lift. The bottom portion is the hardest. Another great one, if you do have the setup, would be doing a deadlift with bands resisting. So you set it up so the bands are resisting you as you pull up, so you have to explode even faster. Getting explosiveness off the ground is always important. Will cardio help you become stronger? Interesting question. I would actually say that certainly yes, the right types of cardio, if it's specific to what you do. Because remember, we talk always about sport-specific training. And what I mean by that, doing long jogs on the beach ain't really going to do much to increase your deadlift. However, doing something like a kettlebell swing that helps reinforce that hip hinge pattern, right? The hip going up and down, will certainly wire it into your brain, that neuromuscular pattern, which will make it easier for you to deadlift to keep that technique tight. What I'm trying to say is sprinting also, fast twitch muscle fibers, it carries over towards the squat. I'm not saying if you sprint, you're immediately going to be able to, you know, squat 500-600 pounds, but I will say that I do believe that certain anabolic cardio movement patterns that are similar between cardio and actual weight training work synergistically. They work together. Yo, Omar, what method do you personally use to progressively overload your lifts? Great question, but remember, what applies to me won't necessarily apply to you. Essentially what I do is a 6-day split every week, and what it is, it's a push-pull legs, what people would call it, I don't call it that, and it's 3. So it's 3 focusing on strength and 3 focusing more on hypertrophy. With that being said, it's usually every 4-week cycles, kind of like undulating periodization, where I'll peak on the 3rd week on particular movements. I change the movements and so forth, and then the 4th week will be a deload. So ramp up, peak, deload, restart again. Omar, tips on getting a back arch when you bench without getting lower back pain. Yes, I could totally actually relate to this. When I first started to get a back arch, I'd experience a little bit of pain in my lower back. The honest solution is, first of all, you have to set your feet before you do the arch on the bench. Then you're gonna start to tighten up. So first, plant your feet down on the ground, then you're gonna start to get that arch. Once you get that arch and you're comfortable, the secret, I could tell you, is squeezing that ass. If you engage your glutes, it's gonna take pressure away from the lower back while maintaining that back arch. Keeping the glutes and the core, interestingly enough, on the bench, you should be tight. One kinetic chain will take the pressure off your lower back. So once you get the arch, you set your feet on the ground, get the arch, make sure to fire the glutes and the core. Should immediately fix the problem. And with that, my friends, we are done with this edition of the Q&A, answering your fitness questions. Should you have more, get on my Facebook fan page. That's where all the cool stuff goes down. I will be doing another Q&A in the future, so if you got that question, that's where to ask it. With that being said, that's all the time we have. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like this video. Not a subscriber, damn it, you know you should be. I'll be seeing all you guys in the next video. Take care of yourself.